Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health with Sara Banta. I'm a wife, mom of 3, and an NANP certified supplement professional, but that's not all. I'm also the founder of the awarded most innovative health supplement company 4 years in a row, Accelerated Health Products, a brand offering innovative, natural, scalar enhanced supplements to optimize your health. And this podcast is not just a source of information. We are a community. We're all here to learn and grow on our health journeys, regardless of where you are today. And this podcast is the springboard to learning. And the group coaching on Telegram is where we continue that learning together. You can ask your questions. I post tips and tools to deepen your health and keep you moving forward. So here's what you can expect. New episodes every Monday and Wednesday with in-depth health discussions and expert guests. Hot topics that are in the news every Friday to keep things fun. And then, of course, followed up with the free group coaching. You connect with like-minded people that are very motivating, and they can teach you along with me. Well, have you thought about detoxing, but you're worried if it's too much, or you're worried about those detox flu symptoms? Well, I've created over 10 unique easy detox cleanses, from just the colon cleanse and getting you pooping, to the bladder cleanse, the kidney cleanse, the liver flush cleanse, which most of you need at least 4 times a year. And then you've got the big one, the accelerated diet cleanse, that resets everything: hormones, weight loss, brain, gut, all the things. And you can find out which detox is right for you by taking the detox quiz at SaraBantaHealth.com. And maybe you're not ready for a detox. Maybe you just want to start with 1, 2, or 3 supplements, and you don't know which supplements you need. Well, complete the health goals form on the website, and I will personally put together a protocol for you. Just by taking a few steps forward with your health, we will change your life together. I'm here every step of the way. Well, today we are talking about omegas, omega-3, omega-6. And did you hear about the omega-9s? Well, there's a lot of controversy out there. So let's dive into it. Should you take a fish oil? Should you not? Well, we are living in a time where chronic illness, metabolic dysfunction, and low energy are rampant. And while the spotlight often shines on sugar, stress, and environmental toxins, another silent culprit has taken root in our modern lives: these unstable fats, these PUFAs, polyunsaturated fats. They're found in industrial seed oils, but they're also the omega-6s. And did you know that omega-3s are also unstable? I thought we were supposed to take omega-3s. Actually, omega-3s is like the top supplement that people that don't even take supplements take. So let's understand, what are the roles of omega-3s, 6, and 9 fatty acids, along with their complex interplay between fat quality, iodine, and cell membrane health, so that we can really understand what is the root cause of disease. Because that's the whole point. If we're taking an omega-3 supplement, isn't the goal to have better health? What if it's doing more harm than good? So let's dive in. Okay, what are omega fatty acids? They are classified based on the position of their first double bond. Going back to chemistry class, a chemically reactive site in the fatty acid chain. When it's a double bond, it means it's more unstable. So if there's one bond, there's only one place it can break. If there's 2 bonds, it's much easier to fall apart, right? So we should be looking at a picture. But with that double bond, there's more risk of it being unstable. So the location of the double bond dictates how that fat behaves in the body, how easily it oxidizes, not a good thing, how it incorporates into membranes, and how it affects inflammation and metabolism. Our goal is reduce inflammation and improve metabolism. So there are 3 types of omegas. We've got the omega-3s. This category includes EPAs and DHAs, long-chain omega-3s, found primarily in cold water fatty fish like salmon, sardines, anchovies. I love my fish for this reason. Omega-3s are potent anti-inflammatory agents. Okay, so anti-inflammatory. That's a good thing. They're good for brain development, cognitive function, mood regulation, emotional balance, cardiovascular health, blood pressure. Every heart doctor puts their patients on omega-3s. Immune modulation, reducing triglycerides and arterial plaque, and supporting healthy pregnancies and fetal development. That all sounds great, right? DHA in particular is a major structural component of the brain and the retina. Without these omega-3s, brains cannot function properly. Now, should you be taking omega-3s? We'll get to that in a minute. Then you've got the omega-6 fatty acids. They include linoleic acid. You've heard a lot about linoleic acid. It is really bad for you, right? Well, in small amounts, omega-6s are essential in the body. They're needed for growth, repair, and immune response. Back in our grandparents' day and age, we didn't worry about linoleic acid because we were eating them in a normal amount. However, in the modern diet, dominated by these refined, processed seed oils, soybean oil, canola oil, corn oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, our intake of omega-6s has become dangerously high, disproportionate to the omega-3s. It's all about the ratio. This imbalance drives chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, all the bad things, and is strongly linked to disease, including heart disease, obesity, autoimmune, depression, neurodegeneration, and cancer. Wait a second. Didn't we just talk about how omega-3s are good for heart disease and metabolism and immunity and mood? Well, this bad ratio of omega-6s to the omega-3s is causing these chronic diseases, the opposite. Now, real quick, let's go through what omega-9s are. They include oleic acid, and they're monounsaturated fats found in olive oil, avocados, some nuts. They're non-essential, meaning that our body can make them. Omega-9s are incredibly beneficial for heart health, blood sugar control, reducing systemic inflammation, and they're more chemically stable due to fewer double bonds and less prone to that oxidation, making them better for cooking compared to those polyunsaturated fats or those seed oils. So now let's go back to the omega-6s, because they were okay in our diet years ago, but now not so much. And there's a lot of talk about these seed oils, these PUFAs, and the PUFAs include omega-3s. Omega-3s are unstable. The omega-3s and omega-6s contain those multiple double bonds, right? These double bonds are unstable. They're vulnerable to that oxidative damage when exposed to heat, light, oxygen, and this makes them fragile, reactive, and susceptible to forming harmful free radicals, especially when heated during the cooking process or put on the shelves for a long time. But what the problem is there's this rise of industrial seed oils in processed foods. 70% of the American diet is processed, not real foods, laden with these seed oils. And these seed oils have flooded our food supply with these omega-6 linoleic acid. And these oils are highly processed, often chemically extracted with solvents like hexane, and are used in nearly all packaged foods, restaurant fryers, and even condiments. So historically, like in our grandparents' age, there was the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3s was about 1-to-1, 2-to-1. That's okay. Our bodies can handle that. Today, that ratio is closer to 20 to 1 or even 30 to 1 in favor of the omega-6s due to the seed oils. This imbalance drives that inflammation, impairs mitochondrial function. We're only as healthy as our cells and our mitochondria. And this disrupts the hormone signaling, interferes with the cell's ability to metabolize energy efficiently. And that's why you're going, wait a second, I'm only eating X amount of calories and I'm gaining weight. It's not about the calories so much. It's about the inflammation and about the fact that the cells cannot convert that food to energy because it's not real food. So this is where the problem lies. There's that danger in the unstable fats and this modern diet. The polyunsaturated fats, especially when they come from these processed seed oils, are inherently unstable. And with that, they also stay in the cells for years and years. It's not like you have a bad meal and you go to McDonald's or even Chipotle and tomorrow it's out of your cells. No, it takes about 7 years. The oxidized fats become lipid peroxides, which generate free radicals that damage DNA, proteins, and the mitochondria and the cell membrane. So the whole goal in paying attention to omegas is for our health, right? And we are only as healthy as our cells. And that cell membrane is the brain of the cell. So how do these fats affect the cell and the cellular membrane? So these toxins interfere with hormone signaling at the cell level, mitochondrial production or energy production, that ATP that I talk about. ATP is your energy, neurotransmitter balance, immune regulation, and the detoxification process. So we're not just talking about detoxing the body from these seed oils. We need to be detoxing our cells from the fluoride in our water, the smoke from the fires in our air, the heavy metals in our organic chocolate protein powder. Yes, these things are real. Even the glyphosate that comes over from our non-organic crops into our organic crops. We are all taking in more toxins than ever before. I don't care if you are eating only wild meat and organic vegetables. You have toxins in your body, and your cell membrane is in charge of getting those toxins out of the cells. And when these cells are filled with the seed oils and these omega-6 fatty acids in a bad ratio, then the cells can't work. It's like having your cell phone, trying to make a call, and you're underwater. Doesn't work, right? So the cell membrane matters. That's why we're going to get into it. With every one of your trillion of cells that is encased in a cell membrane with a phospholipid biolayer. So it is made up of lipid, which is fat, and iodine, iodolipid. So it has an iodolipid value. It has a double membrane that is composed of saturated fats, which are stable. There's one bond, not a double bond. And then it's also made of cholesterol, unsaturated fats, phosphatidylcholine, and then the iodine-linked lipids. This membrane isn't just a physical shell. It's highly intelligent. It is the brain. It interfaces and controls what enters and exits the cells, how the cell communicates with other cells, and how responsive it is to hormones like insulin and thyroid hormones. So maybe you're taking your thyroid medication and you've got all the thyroid hormones in your body, but the cell's not listening. It doesn't know how to hear what those messages from the thyroid hormones are saying. Right? We can be insulin resistant. We also can be resistant to leptin or thyroid hormones or any hormones. So it's not just about what your hormones are doing or how much hormone you have in your body. It's how the cells are listening. So when the membrane is flexible and stable and well nourished, cells thrive. I'll never forget when my son had cancer. I saw his cells underneath the microscope, and they were very rigid. They were all bunched up. You couldn't get anything in or anything out. They also looked like donuts. They looked like they had holes inside of them because they were nutritionally deficient. When they were healthy a year later, after he had no more cancer, and you can go to the website and learn about my story and how we overcame that. But the cells were not only cancer-free, but the membranes looked flexible. The cells were all plump and dark, and they were spread out and happy, and they looked so healthy, right? So we need that membrane to be flexible and stable and well-nourished, and then those cells thrive. The nutrients then can get into the cells, and the waste, the smoke, the air pollution, the fluoride, the bromide, the chlorine, the heavy metals, the radiation, all can get out of the cell, so the mitochondria can make its ATP, make its energy, take the food that you are consuming, turn it into energy so that you can go do your day, and that you don't need to fall on the couch at 3 p.m. because you're exhausted, right? The whole goal is to get cellular energy so that we can have energy. Mitochondrial failure is when we die, right? So we want to help our mitochondria. Anyone who's talking about longevity or living till 150, it's all about your mitochondrial health. We need to produce energy seamlessly, keep that inflammation low. But when the membrane becomes rigid, inflamed, or oxidized due to these toxic omega-6 fatty acids, every function of the cell is compromised. So what do? Well, there's phosphatidylcholine. This is one of the most critical building blocks of the cell membrane. Phospholipid is responsible for the structure, the fluidity, and the repair of that membrane. It also helps emulsify fats and bile in the liver, playing a vital role in detoxification and fat metabolism. Have you noticed that when you're eating a fatty meal, you get really nauseous and you're like, oh, I can't take that? That's because your bile's not working, your gallbladder's backed up, your liver's backed up, you're not metabolizing your fat very well. And you used to be able to eat anything, right, when you were younger? Well, that's when your gallbladder, your liver, and your bile were all working seamlessly. And now with age, you got to be a little more proactive in taking care of that liver and that gallbladder in order to improve that fat metabolism. If you can't metabolize your fat, then where are you going to get your energy from? You've got to be able to take that fat that you're taking in and turn it into energy. So modern stressors, environmental toxins, alcohol, poor diets, and even age deplete this phosphatidylcholine. Without enough, the membranes become brittle and permeable. Toxins accumulate inside the cells. Nutrient exchange becomes inefficient. So if your cells are full of these toxins, there's no room for the nutrients to get in. And you're not able to detox. You have brain fog, fatigue, inflammation issues. So this is where a supplement can come in. I love the Body Bio PC. I take it every day. It helps with that membrane repair and fluidity, restoring the structure of the membrane, ensuring nutrients can get in and toxins can get out. It repairs the damage caused by oxidative seed oils and those omega-6s, and it helps with the bile, improves that phase 2 detox pathway in the liver, helps with that liver detoxification, allows the liver to process and eliminate the toxins. You gotta love your liver. Your liver is helping you get rid of everything we're being exposed to, including the inflammatory omega-6 seed oils. We can't get away from them. Are you never going to go out to a restaurant? Even the top restaurants use these oils. They cut the olive oil with the seed oils to save money. That's just the reality. So the problem is we're all going to be taking them in. Well, PC also helps with methylation and DNA health. It helps with that gene regulation, detox, neurotransmitter synthesis. It also provides the choline for our brain, which is a precursor to acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter responsible for memory and focus. especially going through menopause, we lose that level of acetylcholine. So that's why us women need it more than ever. And then it also helps with the mitochondria. It helps the membranes, allowing that mitochondria to maintain the right gradients and energy flow, ensuring that you are going to get maximum ATP production. Okay, but it's not just about the PC. You remember, each cell membrane has an iodo-lipid value, iodine and fat value. That's where the Acceleradine, iodine, and the PC come together. These two are the groom and the bride for a perfect marriage. Iodine is usually known for your thyroid hormone production, but remember, if our cells are resistant to hearing the thyroid hormones, doesn't do you any good. Well, you do need it to produce that T3 and T4. It stands for the 3 and 4 molecules of iodine, but it goes deeper. Iodine is a powerful antioxidant. It stabilizes the membrane, and especially when it comes to those unsaturated fats. Remember that bilipid layer, it's made up of the saturated fats, which are stable, and the unsaturated fats. So the iodine is needed more in that unsaturated fat layer than the saturated fat. So the iodo-lipid value of the unsaturated fat layer is higher than the iodo-lipid value of the saturated fat. So it will help stabilize that cell membrane. And this is going to mitigate any side effects of the inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids. So it binds to those vulnerable double bonds in the unsaturated fats, creates the iodo-lipids, and that protects the fats from oxidizing. This is especially crucial in the omega-6 rich membranes for people consuming modern diets laden with those seed oils. Iodine helps restore that structural integrity of the membranes and prevents the peroxidation and the stabilization of fatty acids. So here's how iodine supports those cell membranes, the omega balance, and the overall cellular health. It binds to those unstable omega-6 fatty acids, right? It forms those iodo-lipids that prevent the oxidation. It also displaces the toxic halogens like bromide, fluoride, and chlorine from the cells. So those can't even take place. When your body's saturated with enough iodine, the halogens have no place to make their home. But if you don't have enough iodine in your body, those halogens, bromide, fluoride, and chlorine, look like iodine, and they fit right into those receptor sites for iodine. That's what causes disease. So it also enhances apoptosis, which is helping clear out damaged or cancer cells. It boosts that mitochondrial ATP production. So your ATP in each mitochondria can be as low as 2 or as high as 36. And iodine helps increase that ATP. Mitochondrial failure, the number one cause, iodine deficiency. It's no mystery that iodine deficiency is also the number one cause of depression. How can you feel happy if your brain has no energy, if your brain has no ATP, right? So iodine also protects the DNA from oxidative stress. So this is where iodine and phosphatidylcholine come together. Together, they rebuild and stabilize the cell membranes. They stabilize those unstable omega-6 fatty acids. They support the deep cellular detoxification, help with that ATP production, help normalize hormonal signaling, improve that nutrient uptake, so getting the nutrients into the cells and the toxins out. They defend against the oxidative stress and the lipid peroxidation. They help with the brain, the liver, the thyroid, the gut. When I take these two supplements, I feel energy throughout my body, in my brain. My brain's clearer. I remember I was going through a period where my brain was dull and my vision was bad. I started taking these two at higher doses and my vision came back. It truly was a miracle when I thought I was just getting old. So what do? Yes, we want to take the two supplements, but what else do? Should you take an omega-3 fatty acid supplement? Most of them are rancid. That's the problem because they're unstable. I recommend just getting it from fish, wild caught fatty fish for your EPA and DHA. Grass-fed meats. Did you know your grass-fed bison, your grass-fed lamb, your venison, they have more omega-3 fatty acids than some fish sometimes. And they definitely have more than the conventionally raised meats. That's why we want to stay away from chicken, poultry, conventional beef. They are much higher in the omega-6s. So here you are, you're saying, okay, I'm on a diet. I'm going to eat the skinny white meat from the chicken. Did you know that white meat has more omega-6 fatty acids than your bison that you're eating that has more fat? We got to look at where our food is coming from as much as we can in a world that is out of our control. So the grass-fed meats are your priority. Pasture-raised eggs, extra virgin cold pressed olive oil, avocado oil, unheated, but really know where it's coming from because a lot of avocado oil isn't even avocado oil and you can't really trust some sources. Organic coconut oil, grass-fed butter and ghee, cold pressed, stored in dark glass bottles, and then supplementing with the phosphatidylcholine and the iodine. And avoid as much as you can the industrial seed oils, canola, soybean, corn, sunflower, cottonseed oils, the fried foods and the processed snacks. So the fried foods not only have the omega-6 fatty acids, but then they are processed and heated, making them so much more dangerous and inflammatory in the body. High heat cooking, that is where the damage is. And then what restaurants do, and you don't even know this, is they repeatedly use that reused cooking oils. Yuck. Oh my goodness. It's disgusting. Beyond just the health ramifications, it's just disgusting. So we've been told for decades that fat is the enemy. That's not true. It's the wrong kind of fat. It's just like, are carbs the enemy? No, it's the wrong kind of carbs. Is protein the enemy? Usually protein's not the enemy, but there are some wrong proteins, the processed proteins, right? Because the processed proteins like the hot dogs and the salami have corn or corn syrup in them or ingredients that are artificial and are inflammatory to the body as well. So what you want to use is the iodine, the phosphatidylcholine, to help get rid of some of the toxins that you're taking in and you don't even know. We want to stabilize our mitochondria. We want to stabilize that cell membrane. We are only as healthy as our cells. So when we're talking about the omega-3s, the omega-6s, the omega-9s, the whole goal is to improve our health. And we need to start with improving our health at the health of our cells. That is what it's all about, right? Okay. So hopefully this was helpful. Thanks for listening. Our discussion does not have to stop here. If you don't know where to start, just go to my website, get your free supplement protocol, SaraBantaHealth.com. I will happily put together a protocol just for you. Follow me on social media, tag a friend, tell people, especially people like my own dad, who takes very few supplements, but one of them is an omega-3, send this to them. They need to know the truth. Why are you even taking an omega? Do you even know the truth? And you can join the free group coaching on Telegram. Invite your friends there too. It's free. I answer your questions. I post insights. I keep you moving forward. You can find this podcast and all of my podcasts by looking up Accelerated Health with Sara Banta on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, E360, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Roku, and over 100 different platforms. And you can also use the coupon code podcast10 to get 10% off your first order. Remember, I'm live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so join me next time for more ways to unlock your health potential.